Hey everyone, welcome to Obsessed Garage. This is my 2025 Tesla Model 3 Performance. I want to answer the question for you, why would you spend so much time taking your wheels off, getting them prepared in order to make it easier to clean? But I promise you, if you go through this process, it will make keeping and maintaining your wheels and your car in general much, much easier in the future. All right, so these Tesla wheels have quite a bit of plastic on them, which I think I'm gonna remove. I think it would look a lot better. Obviously, they do this for aerodynamics. I don't think you should do this with the wheel on the car. But the removal of the wheel is important because if you do just the face, really the area that gets damaged and beat up the most on your wheels is your barrel. And oftentimes you can't get the entire barrel clean. So if you have some chemical resistance there, it'll be much less likely to have embedded brake dust. I mean, these are steel brakes. I mean, look at all the rust in there. If I have that rust and it continues to get deposited on the non-protected surface, I'm gonna end up with etching. The finish is gonna fall apart. It's just not gonna, the wheels aren't gonna look good. I mean, these are one of the most expensive components on the car, so why not spend, $80 on some coating and then make your life and make your wheels lifespan much, much better. Removing your wheels shouldn't be too difficult. You need a jack, you need a torque wrench, and you need just a little bit of time. It really shouldn't be that scary for you, right? So I actually cleaned these last time I cleaned the car, and that's what they still look like. So clearly I didn't do a very good job. It was just kind of hard to get in there. All right, so here's how water behaves on a non-coated wheel. So we have a little bit of water beading here, just normal clear coat, right? So it's not too bad, but look at the barrel. So the barrel, notice how the water, see how the water just kind of parks itself on there? There's a little bit of beading, a little bit of water runoff, but you can tell by this kind of flat looking water behavior where the water still parked on the surface. And so the telltale sign of a coated wheel would be we'd have tighter beading, so the water would kind of beat up in bubbles. But what that tells us, what this tells us right now, is that there's dirt on the surface and there's nothing to help reject the dirt. And also makes it so that it's a lot harder to clean. You got to scrub more, which means you're going to scratch it more. And so I'm going to show you afterwards how much better the water will move off of the wheels after we get it coated. All right, so here's what you need and some stuff you don't need and some stuff you can't get, right, to do this process. But it's really pretty simple. I got a couple of these beauties, right? These are gonna cut the nibs off. I'll show you that in a second. I'm gonna use CarPro Eraser in a Press-All Pro Series spray bottle. These things look so good. I probably should put this in a Press-All bottle as well, but this I don't think I'll need, but this is a sledgehammer. These are both isopropyl alcohol solutions. One is more concentrated than the other. I've got Stoner's Terminator, which I'm going to use to prep the tires. I've got some gloves. These are my favorite gloves. You can get these on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description, but these are Astro Grip from SAS. And then the star of the show here is Armor Wheel Coating. And so we're going to I have a fresh bottle of this, but I'll tell you, this bottle here will do like 2.5 sets of wheels if you put it on right. And then I have some CarPro's suede applicators. And then the last thing will be OG tire dressing. So I have OG tire dressing in a Press-All Pro Series. And then I'm gonna use the OG tire dressing brush from Detail Factory. See, it's got little hexes on it. It's pretty cool. So we'll use that to dress the tires. So let's get after it. So step one in the process, which I've kind of skipped over, would have been to use a wheel cleaner. So I would use Shine Supply Wise Guy, especially if they're older wheels. Shine Supply Wise Guy to clean up the wheels. And I actually used that earlier when I was doing the decon process. And then what I would do is spray an iron remover on it. If it was not a new car, you could probably spray it on there just to be safe. So I did an iron remover when I did the iron removing stage. Because remember, this wheel, in order for our coating to really work, we want it to stick. Man, that's like a darn advertisement for the OG gun, wand, foam cannon, and hose. That looks pretty sick right there. I promise I didn't stage that. It just looks good. But Eraser is a pretty mild isopropyl alcohol. I'm going to spray the whole surface down, face and back. You don't have to do it wet if your wheels are already clean. So this is part of the you can't get, which is the Source Garage wheel stand that he stopped making them. Oh yeah, that's not a bad looking wheel at all. Look at that thing. So make sure to go check out the de-nibbing video if you're entertained by watching a psychopath cut the nibs off of the tiny spots. All right, so then we'll do a little cleanup to the back, which is kind of a waste of time, but makes me feel better. And you really should clean the tires before you do the final prep work on the wheel, because you're gonna get a little bit of over whatever. So there's something magical about Terminator and tire dressing together. All right, I think we're ready to coat. I like to do the barrel first. Should always shake up your product. And then I love that my friends at Armor, they put a dropper in here so I don't have to use a pipette. Put EA amount on there. And go get it. Now I'm going to remember this is the logo, so this is where I'm going to start. Now it's going to be easy to see on these satin wheels, but you want to stay organized when you're coating. And this coating is reasonably forgiving, not the most forgiving, but it gives you plenty of time to work with. I mean, I've got probably 3 or 4 minutes before I have any drying, and so I can actually go and do the whole barrel and the whole back of the wheel and still have plenty of time to wipe it flat. So you got a decent amount of working time. Some coatings you got to get off immediately. Some coatings you got to let it sit longer. This one is a pretty forgiving sort of wipe on, wipe off, but gives you 3 or 4 minutes of working time. Okay, then I have 2 towels. Initial wipe, final wipe. You don't need 2 towels on wheels, but it's not bad practice. And so I'm not looking to wipe the product off, I'm looking to wipe it flat. But I don't want to end up with shiny high spots, and so I need to come back and do this process. Now, this coating is pretty grabby at the get. Like there's a grab to it as I'm wiping with the towel. But then after that initial grab, you end up with pretty slick surface. I also like to do the barrel here first, because if I was only going to do 1 coat, the chance of me pushing something off to the face, off to the front face of the wheel is higher. And so I like to do the barrel first and then do the face. And then I'll take my secondary towel. See, the secondary really wasn't necessary, but let's do the secondary wipe. You know, I think we'd be fine with a single coat on these wheels, especially since you don't use the brakes a lot. Once I go to carbon ceramics, and I'm gonna do an aftermarket wheel, so maybe I'll just call this quits right here after this first coat. So you can see we did a pretty good job of cleaning the wheel, but there's still like a little bit of residual cleaning effect that's happening when you're putting the coating on. So I put about that much. I'm gonna start on the valve stem right here, and I'm gonna work my way around. coatings wiped off. Put your cap back on. This now, in about 5 minutes, this will harden up and be unusable. So when you're doing wheels, get lots of applicators because you're going to ruin them. And so now I'm going to put my tire dressing on, and I'm only going to put it on the front, not the rear. But I want to put it on pretty aggressively because I want the tire dressing to, I don't know, it just seems like it does better when I put on a thick layer, let it sit, say, overnight. And then after the first wash, I clean it and then I get the finish I'm looking for. See, I don't like that. That level of finish is too shiny for me and not very uniform, but I want it to sit like that overnight. So what you would do after you let it sit, then I would wipe it flat. And I end up with a nice satin looking uniform wheel finish. I'm telling you, the first application after the first wash, your wheel will look, your tire will look the best it ever will. And then you just maintain it from there. All right, caliper process is the same. I'm gonna go straight to strong, and I'm gonna spray it right on here because these are generally powder coated, generally pretty stout. Soak it down, clean it up, and then I'm gonna put the same Armor wheel coating on here that I put on the wheel. And it just makes for your calipers to stay a little cleaner, make it a little easier to take care of them, and make them look nice. And just so we don't mess anything up, classic mineral spirits. It's not a good sign for the future of these rotors not rusting and getting nasty every single time. If you do a second coat, I don't think it's really gonna add that much to longevity. It's probably more just to make sure if you ever miss a spot, make sure you get everything. Nice. All right, you wanna see how the water behaves? All right, so let's show you. So see what I'm talking about, how the water. So now there are tight little beads and the water tends to grab itself and fall off. But our water behavior is a sort of a telltale sign of how much easier it's going to clean up. Now this is not advisable. You want to let your coating cure. But now from here on out, your wheels are slick and your surface tension is different, and so all of the stuff that would normally stick to, you can even see the tires as well, the stuff that would normally stick will largely come off without you even agitating it. But that's what you want to see when your wheels are coated. Most of the time, you could probably just use Billet Hammer touchless and a 2% panel impact ratio, and then not even touch the wheels. All right, the last step is put it back on. So now, you don't have to have something quite this fancy, but if you wanted to be fancy like me, hit me up, I'll get you one. These hookers are expensive, but this is my favorite torque wrench that exists. I like the click style torque wrenches rather than digital. Every digital one I have, every time I go to use it, the freaking battery's dead. So, because sometimes there's a decent distance between use. So this one, you pop the little green thing off, and then you go and set your torque spec. So that should be 130 right there, 129 foot-pounds. here, 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 and there. All right, that's a wrap on the coating process, tire prep process, and a little bit of modification to our Tesla here, showing our brakes a little bit more. I think that looks a little better, don't you? But anyway, go to obsessedgarage.com. You can get all this stuff. I've made it simple for you. So we have the De-Nib kit, we have the coating, wheel coating package, and of course we have, we have CarPro Racer, and we'll have the Rupes reveal. But I promise you, if you go through this process, it's not hard. Takes a little bit of time, maybe 3-4 hours of your time will save you, probably 2 or 3 times that, and maybe even more over the life of your car. And it will make for a more enjoyable experience when you know that when that rust and dust and brake crap gets all over your wheels, you'll know that you have some chemical resistance that's protected. Anyway, thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. This Tesla's coming together, and stay tuned for some more stuff on it. We'll see you soon.